Alrighty, I think we can get started here. We have a super exciting call today. Just a quick reminder that this is Ecosystem Wednesday on the Gnosis Chain Discord, and this call is being recorded. We get together every month and we invite a team who's building on Gnosis Chain to come give a product demo. And this month we have the Maker team and Karpatkey to talk about Spark and SDI, which is super exciting. So just some quick background on how all the pieces fit together and to kind of set the stage here. Obviously, the relationship between Gnosis and Maker is a very long-standing one. If you're familiar with the Gnosis forum, then of course you've seen a few proposals pop up here and there between Gnosis and Maker, and some of those proposals have been authored by Karpatkey. Of course, Gnosis Chain also denominates its gas in XDAI, and XDAI is generated when DAI is sent to the XDAI bridge, where the bridge validators mint the XDAI as part of the Gnosis Reward native contract. DAI is maintained and regulated by the MakerDAO. I think everyone is also aware of Karpatkey. They manage the Gnosis DAO treasury through their state-of-the-art risk management and trust minimized DeFi treasury execution. And yeah, just a little bit of background about the specifics of the call today and Spark. So earlier this month, MakerDAO announced that Spark Lend, their first functioning DeFi product that's developed by a sub-DAO, which in this case is Spark DAO, has gone multi-chain with its launch on Gnosis Chain. The Spark protocol is a DAI-focused fork of Aave v3. Spark Lend allows users to earn interest on DAI deposits via the DAI savings rate, the DSR, and facilitates decentralized borrowing using DAI as collateral. So as mentioned, Gnosis Chain is Maker's first cross-chain instance of Spark Lend. Since the launch, Block Analytica is reporting that there's a total value of 14.8 million, which I'm sure that number is much higher at this point, has been supplied on Spark with over 600K borrowed since the launch. And Gnosis Chain's TVL has grown by over, I think it's 200% since the launch of SDI and Maker's instance of Spark. So with that, without further ado, I'll hand it over to Taddeo from Maker and Julian from Karpatkey. So take it away, guys.
Thanks a lot, John. A little intro of myself. My name is Taddeo. I've been in the Maker community for about 3 years now. So as of late, now I'm part of a group called Phoenix Labs, who's one of the contributors alongside Block Analytica and others building Spark. Spark in itself is, we like to say that our objective is, our common objective is to empower the DAI ecosystem. So Maker is going through a reorganization for the next phase of growth called Endgame. Part of it, if I may simplify a little bit, is Maker Core will focus on the security of DAI, while these new entities called sub-DAOs, which Spark DAO is one of them, will be focusing on the growth of DAI. And for that reason, we've been developing a couple infrastructure products. As John correctly mentioned, Spark Lend, a Aave v3 based lending market. SDI, we're looking to bolster its integration in the ecosystem and finding new and novel approaches, what it can actually do to the ecosystem. And finally, Spark Conduits, which is something that's a little bit more future thinking for next year. So I think I'll avoid talking about it too much.
Yes, thank you. So now I will talk first about myself a little bit. I'm Ines. I'm working for Karpatkey. Been working for Karpatkey for the past 6 months, and I've been working a lot in ecosystem development. one of the things that was recently deployed was Savings XDAI or SDAI, which is our own version of Maker's DSR. So basically, what we did was we proposed to deposit almost 100% of the DAI sitting in the XDAI bridge in the DSR, which is earning a 5% interest rate. And then we distribute that yield to those that deposit SDAI in the DSR. However, since not 100% of the yield of the XDAI holders are depositing in the XDAI vault, the yield is actually larger. Well, I wanted to wait a second. I wanted to share my screen. A moment. Okay, we'll need to quit and come back. Sorry for this, but I need to allow the screen recording. Just be right back for a second.
Well, in the meantime, I'll fill in a bit of time. No, just want to say is I'm just going to repeat what John said mainly. The Maker ecosystem of the Gnosis ecosystem have always been very close together. So I think that with this new phase of release of Maker, we're really excited to be partnering up with Gnosis on this. I think the deployment of Sparkland on Gnosis Chain and the creation by part of Gnosis of this derivation of SDAI is just like the beginning. So I think we have quite a few years of exciting stuff ahead.
Yes, thank you. I'm back, and I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to finish explaining how SDAI works. Thanks to our friend Juan that is in this call, he made this chart, and it's pretty simple to understand. So basically, in the beginning, there were around, like, say, 20 million DAI sitting on the XDAI Gnosis bridge. So we deposited that in SDAI, and we started earning a 5% interest rate. Now, the bridge is earning around like 1 million DAI per year. So how can we came up with the question, what's the best way to distribute this yield? So we came up with a model that only those that deposit in a vault get the yield. And imagine the case that only 50% of holders deposit this on the vault. The yield is a double. And this has had a great impact, as we can see here. This is a Dune dashboard showing the evolution of the total value locked, the total DAI sitting in the XDAI bridge. As you can see, in May we had around 30 million DAI sitting there. But then we can see a great fall from 30 to 24 million. And the reason of this is actually the DSR, because it became very attractive to hold DAI in the DSR, and people started to leave Gnosis Chain the seek better yields. So we lost around 15% of the TVL, and it's been like that up and down until the beginning of this month that we deployed SDAI on Gnosis Chain. And then what we saw is a very rough increase in the TVL to 86 million. And this difference is roughly the same as all the DAI that has been deposited in the vault. As we can see here, it's around 50 million. So I think we can call this a great success. It's a great way to attract users to Gnosis Chain in a very scalable way because it's not paying up incentives or anything. So we are.
Julian, I think we lost your mic there. Are you still with us?
Are you listening?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I think I know what's the issue. Okay. What's the last thing that you heard from me?
You were talking about how SDI is a scalable way to incentivize users to come over to Gnosis Chain.
Well, yeah, that's indeed right. Well, we can see this here because the users have actually maintained since they deposited there. In order to increase the usage and to grow the DeFi ecosystem, we are starting to use SDAI in other DeFi ecosystems, in other DeFi protocols. The great example is Balancer, that we are starting to use SDAI as the bear token for stablecoins and for ETH, for example. So then users can earn a yield, the SDAI yield, while providing liquidity. And this, once again, this scales with the usage. It's not something like regular emissions, like balancer emissions, that when you deposit more liquidity there, the emissions get diluted. In this case, this scales. So this has a base yield, and any emission that we can get goes on top of that. Yeah, we're pretty bullish on growing the DeFi ecosystem using SDAI as the epicenter of this. I was planning to make a demo on how to deposit in Maker, in Spark protocol, how to borrow against wrap stake ETH at a decently stable rate of 5%. And even if you want, you can then deposit that in SDAI, which has a bit of a higher rate than that. So, is there anything that you want to add before we jump to that? You want to further explain how Spark work or anything?
Yeah, I'll just go with like a brief overview of Sparkland. I think most people in this call, I would imagine they're kind of familiar with lending markets nowadays, but just in case. We're in a double-sided market, so you can both borrow and lend. A very important particularity of Sparkland, and this is particular to the current version on L1, is that all the markets are normal, apart except for the DAI market. The DAI market is a predictable rate, we would like to call it. It's essentially what's happened at the Maker CDPs all this time. I think we haven't coined this term and really pushed it. But essentially, normal lending markets, the rate is based on utilization. How many people are supplying and how many people are borrowing. And that's very dynamic. Sometimes if you have big sudden withdrawals or deposits, you might have like spikes of that rate. Given that Maker is the one supplying the DAI, this can be done in the same way that Maker has done it through the vault, meaning that right now Maker charges a 5% APY, and that's fairly stable. And that only changes through governance. So, and the nice thing about governance is that it's slow moving, so you actually get to see what the new rate update will be, and you know exactly when that will change. So it gives you a lot of predictability, and it should like increase the user experience when coming to these markets. Particularly with the Gnosis Sparkland instance, where we don't have that set up yet. That will come next year. But in the meantime, we're trying to replicate that same behavior by essentially having a custom interest rate strategy. Which basically means that you'll be borrowing XDAI at 5% up to the point that the pool is 90% utilized, which shouldn't really be happening because we should be supplying it with more XDAI. So that's, I think, the biggest, let's say, value proposition that I think would be very interesting to people, idea of predictability. Then you have all the features that you can come to expect, such as emote. I think is fairly interesting. I think the most interesting thing to do. So you can basically borrow and lend. When you use a collateral that basically is the same over related token, you get like better parameters than that. I think that's it. You want Nesk? You want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. I will move forward and do a little demo of how Spark works and how to deposit to in a slide. I'll share my screen. Everyone can see here.
Yep.
Okay. So first of all, you need to connect your wallet. Yeah, they just recently changed their site, so it's not very popular at the moment. Well, first thing you can do is you want to deposit Rhapsody ETH. In this case, I will deposit 0.22. Sorry, need to change this to Gnosis Chain. There you go. And all you need to first approve. Once it's approved, you can deposit. And then we're going to borrow against this XDAI at a stable rate of 5%. And now we need to choose how much we want to borrow. If you borrow the maximum, we're going to get a call factor of 1.11. So let's do something a bit more conservative, which is borrowing 200 XDAI. Let's do just wrap XDAI. We also need to approve this. When you borrow, we need to take care of the call factor, because if your call factor drops below 1, you're subject to be liquidated. You can I see a question over there. You can borrow against GNO. I just borrowed against Rhapsody Ether, but you can borrow against GNO, Rhapsody Ether, Ether, and Ether, basically. You can also borrow against DAI or XDAI. You will have to borrow ETH or Rhapsody Ether. You're obviously not going to borrow DAI against DAI. GNO, you're allowed to put as collateral. You're not allowed to borrow. Now that we borrowed 200 XDAI, we can go to Agave and we can deposit. I'm gonna update this. Sorry. So first, I need to approve. Ignore the warnings. Okay, I see now the question. So they will probably answer better, but GNO is in installation mode, which means that you can only borrow against GNO if it's the only collateral that you use. If you deposit more than one collateral, only the other days on GNO is counted. That's what isolation mode.
I think we can leave the questions for the end. Maybe that would be best, so that Julian can focus here.
Perfect. We're finishing the deposit now. Inside, we're gonna start earning a 7.3% APY in this DAI, while paying a 5% APY for borrowing it in Spark. You also need to be aware that Spark interest rate on DAI is not exactly stable. It can actually go higher once the utilization rates pass 90%. We are at 41%, so for now we are safe. But if it happened to increase, then that means that I will need to close my position, or I might start paying a higher interest rate than what I'm earning on this slide. So I think that's the end of the demo for now. Any question?
Yeah, there are some questions over here in the chat. Any plans to host via IPFS/ETH.limo?
Yeah, actually, the Sparkland UI is actually being hosted on IPFS at the moment, so that's already a reality.
Okay, cool. There's also a follow-up question from Wonderburned. When I wanted to borrow against GNO was still in isolation mode, so it only counted my wrap stake ETH as collateral. But yeah, your question was answered. Okay, yeah, no longer in isolation mode. Cool. Okay, well, we can either continue with some questions here, or Tadeo, if you have anything left to add, we can do that, but just let me know what works for you.
No, that's perfect. If people have any questions, they can drop them now, or there's quite a few channels to get in touch. We have the SparkDAO Discord. We have the Maker Forum, but I think that's for more official, let's say, proposals. And there's also a Telegram. Well, we see Gnosis Chain Discord, but I also got invited not long ago to the Gnosis Telegram group in Spanish, which is also quite lovely and cool community.
Yeah, that for sure. That's a great one. If anyone here wants to join the Spanish speaker, let us know. Drop your comments in the chat. You can also ask a question in the chat, or you can unmute and ask Tadeo or Julian directly. So yeah, now is a good time for just a brief AMA. It looks like we have one question from Nesk.
Not really a question, just a comment that I mean Spanish speech.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll link to Spark here. I'll also link to a Maker blog article about the DAI savings rate if you'd like to learn more. I'd also just like to quickly plug the Gnosis Chain newsletter. For those of you who don't follow along, I'm sure that most people on this call do. But yeah, always looking for more people to follow along. We publish it every Friday. And yeah, for the Kenai, Maker and Karpatkey have been in there for the past few weeks. And yeah, any other questions for Tadeo and Julian before we let them go? Okay. Yeah, if not, then Tadeo, you mentioned that people can get involved in various different ways. Are there any like upcoming conferences or talks that you'd like to mention?
I'll be in Dev Connect in Istanbul in the coming month. Myself and other people in the team. And no, I encourage people if they're interested in what we're doing at Spark in general to join the Discord and basically get involved. Thanks a lot, John.
Yeah, thank you both for making the time to come on the Ecosystem Wednesday call. We're going to publish this call on YouTube, so you can go back over it if you'd like to just understand how to run through those deposits and borrowing and lending that Julian walked us through. So, with that, thanks everyone. Have a great week. We'll be back with the next Ecosystem Wednesday call next month. It happens once a month right here on the Gnosis Chain Discord. And exciting times. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on Chain. Bye-bye.